Hi, my name's Leah and I'm a psychology student at the University of New England in Armidale, Australia. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to apply a behavioural change technique called exposure therapy to help you to overcome your fear of speaking in public. Fear of public speaking is an extremely common social phobia called glossophobia, which originates from a fear of being judged by others. The fear of public speaking can be so overwhelming that you might try to avoid any situation that may require you to speak in front of a group. This might mean that you sit at the back of the class in the hope that nobody asks you a question. You might turn up late to meetings so that you don't have to introduce yourself, or you might even turn down that job promotion knowing that it will require you to make presentations. Unfortunately, however, by avoiding situations that make you anxious, this can prolong the fear and make it stronger over time. Whenever you are confronted with a situation that makes you feel anxious, your urge is to avoid it. While this makes you feel good in the short term because your anxiety drops quite quickly, the next time you're confronted with the same or a similar situation, you will avoid it again because you've learned that this makes you feel better. This creates a vicious cycle of anxiety and avoidance. And this can transfer to more and more situations until it becomes quite restrictive. Avoidance also stops you from learning that if you stick with the situation, that your anxiety will actually come down on its own. The more you expose yourself to situations that cause you anxiety, the less anxiety you will feel. This is the idea behind exposure therapy, which is a highly effective treatment for phobias. Exposure means gradually facing your fear until your anxiety falls. While this can be personally challenging, the good news is that you will be in control, and by following 4 steps, there is strong evidence to suggest that exposure will work. So let's take a look at how you can start applying exposure therapy to overcome your fear of speaking in public. Everyone fears different types of situations, so it's important that you select a goal that makes the most sense to you. Have a think about the situations that trigger your anxiety and try to define it in detail. This might be, I'm terrified of giving presentations and always try to avoid it. Now write down a specific goal that you want to achieve. This could be, I want to give a presentation in front of a group of 10 or more people. Having a clear goal allows you to set up your exposure program so that you can achieve it. Just be sure not to have a goal like, I want to overcome my fear of presentations, because it's just too vague. Now that you have a specific goal, the next step is to list down situations that you could progress through as part of your exposure plan to achieve the goal. Write these situations down and then rank them according to how much distress they cause you. You can do this using a subjective units of distress scale or a SUD scale, where 0 is no anxiety, you're completely relaxed, and 100 is the most anxiety you can imagine feeling. At the top of the hierarchy should be your most frightening or challenging situation. Make sure that this relates to your goal and is also specific and achievable. At the bottom of your hierarchy should be a situation that causes you some fear, but one that you feel you can manage. This might be looking at a photo of someone giving a presentation. From there, you'll have at least 8 additional situations in between that gradually move you from your most mild fear to your most intense fear. One of the golden rules of exposure therapy is that it is graded. This means facing your fears slowly, starting with something that is easy and gradually building up to more difficult situations. As a rule of thumb, have a minimum of 10 levels within your hierarchy and no more than 10 SUDS points between each level. Now that you've created your hierarchy, plan a suitable day and time to undertake your first exercise. Write this down on a worksheet or on a calendar. Remember, you start at the lowest level of the hierarchy. Just as you're about to start the exercise, write your SUDS level down on the worksheet. You must stay in the situation until this level, your anxiety, drops by at least 50%. Remember, you are going to feel anxious and you are going to feel some physical sensations, but know and tell yourself that the anxiety will go away on its own. This is the most important point with this step. It must be prolonged. You must stay in the situation until your anxiety falls on its own. And remember, be sure to give yourself lots of praise for being so courageous in achieving your goal. The next step is to repeat each exposure exercise regularly until it causes you little or no anxiety. Ideally, repeat your exercises each day. So, for example, you may make an oral presentation to your family each day for 5 days until you're no longer anxious. Once you're at a point where your anxiety is manageable at the start of the exercise, you're ready to move up to the next level of your hierarchy, where you start the process again. Remember to repeat your exercises at each level of the hierarchy until your anxiety is manageable, then move up to the next level. In this way, you will gradually climb the ladder until you achieve your goal. So let's take a recap on how you can start applying exposure therapy to help you overcome your fear of speaking in public. Step 1, select a specific and achievable goal. Step 2, create a graded exposure hierarchy. Step 3, perform prolonged exposure exercises. And step 4, repeat until you achieve your goal. And before I finish, just a few extra tips. Write your exposure goals and activities down. Keep track of your progress on a wall chart or a calendar. And list the support of family and friends and ask them to provide praise and encouragement when you achieve your goals. Also, praise yourself for being courageous and perhaps even promise yourself a reward for reaching the highest levels of your hierarchy. Also, observe others who speak well in public and model their behaviour. Also, read up on other people who have used exposure therapy to overcome their phobias. Finally, remember that everybody feels anxious when they speak in public. However, by using exposure therapy, you can start to overcome your fear of public speaking and get out there. Best of luck.